Here we go then, part 4. We're on lap 6 of 53. Now, there's not going to be hundreds of parts to this. We're going to skip through quite a lot in this video if we can. So, Oscar now, trying to challenge for third position. Charles Leclerc coming down the straight. Charles Leclerc covering off the inside line. Oscar trying to make an overtake around the outside. Got himself level. He's now slightly in front by the looks of things at this braking zone for the corner. Yeah, he's ahead. Here's the braking zone. There's the 150. So what does Charles do? Charles has to take the tight line round there. Left him track room. You see, car on the inside just doesn't send it across here, does he? Okay, accepts that, okay, Oscar's done him there. He has to, basically, Charles still got the inside line to the corner, entitled to. Let's just see if what you see. What we've got here is Charles' wheels are touching the curbing here. All right, the apex. Let's say it's here, midpoint of the corner. This red and white stuff is the curbing. Charles' wheels are on that. Remember when Max overtook Lando in the previous video? Max chopped across, forcing Lando onto this green stuff, didn't he? Just the way it goes for one driver. But Charles realised he's entitled to the inside line, but he can't go in so fast that his car's going to end up going across the track, forcing the car on his outside out of track room on exit of this corner here. And as you can see, look at the rotation of the Ferrari coming around the corner rather than going across the track, because he's decelerated the car so that it can do that. See, this is what decent Formula One drivers do. Left track room for the car on his outside. That's the way that this sport works. They're the rules of engagement, unless we're playing Verstappen rules, everybody. Now, somebody's locked up back there. Who's locked up? What's going on? Do they remain on the track? We don't get to see. F1 TV do not want to show us. We get to see what they will show us. So, what next? I'm going to pause it here and get to the next exciting thing. Okay, lap 7. Hamilton is trying to close in on Bortoleto, coming down the start, finish straight. Getting behind, trying to get the slipstream. You'll see Bortoleto move across to cover off the inside line to the corner. Hamilton tries to maintain the slipstream before pulling out. And there you go. Clean overtake. Bortoleto realises his yielded position and doesn't fight that one. And that's another relatively simple, easy overtake. Could have potentially fought it harder, but again, realised that Hamilton had got DRS and was slipstreaming him, got the extra overspeed, and therefore was likely to make that overtake. Next. Okay, they cut to a replay of Isaac Hadjar's on board, so let's take a look at this. Has been quite impressive as Hadjar since he's started in this sport, but this isn't impressive at all. There's the 150 board. Look how far he is behind. There's 100 board. Look how far he is behind. Still behind. Look at this car slowing to decelerate the car to make it around a corner. There's the 50 board, still behind. We've passed the 50 board. He's the car on the outside, right? He's not even halfway alongside now, right? This is where you back out, Hadjar. You're not entitled to room here at all. By this stage, you've got to be at least fully alongside of him. You're not. Back out. Now, clearly the car on the inside is decelerating to decelerate its car to a slow enough speed to make it around the corner. And Hadjar realises no chance. So bails out. Not good. It's good that he bailed out rather than attempted it, but you should have made that decision a lot earlier. Okay? Shouldn't be trying to force the issue. And that is what that going through that array of bollards does, in terms of meaning that the time it takes to get through that array of bollards is longer than it takes for the car by remaining that remains on track, which is how it should be. Okay, these things you get it wrong, there should be a penalty to pay for that. So, riding on board now with, is this Alonso or is it Stroll? I don't know. Can't see a number here. Replay of lap 2, 18. That's Stroll, isn't it? I don't know. Could be. Yeah, it's Lance Stroll. What's happening here? Well, this Haas car, is that Behrman? It's definitely moving across on him. Is that Ocon actually? Is this what Ocon gets penalised for? Oh, he's caused a collision there. Ocon, 5-second time penalty for forcing another driver off the track. So, a 5-second penalty for Ocon for forcing another driver off the track. Now, let's just go through that again. We saw the onboards of Max Verstappen and what he did to Lando Norris. Yeah? Let's have a look through this. Oops. Look at where Stroll's tyres are compared to, so his front tyres are just slightly ahead of the rear tyres of the Haas car of Ocon. Remember, Norris's car was in a similar position going down to turn 1 on lap 1 off that start. And what does Ocon do? Oh, Max got further across here. Max got to about this position. There's contact. When there's contact, look at what the driver has to do to wrestle back control of that car. Now we know that Lance isn't the best of drivers, but this is the impact of any kind of contact. Look at the steering wheel of Lance Stroll. Contact, counter steer, regain control. At them kind of speeds, contact really puts the car out of shape. Takes some controlling. And you get a 5-second time penalty. That impacts the infringers race. When they pit, that knocks them down 5 seconds. So that's what you should be getting. You should be getting a penalty if you infringe. That was an infringement of Ocon. Now we're on lap 18. What's happening now? Looks like we've got Kimi Antonelli trying to do a move on Yuki Tsunoda, What's going on now? And Yuki doesn't appear to contest that. And they get through there okay. Seemed to leave it late, but it was all okay. No issues with that. We'll get to the next exciting bit. So they're now showing us what Carlos Sainz is doing. So replay, Carlos Sainz coming into the chicane. Carlos Sainz incident. Turn 4, failing to follow race director's instructions. Escape road instructions noted. So he's come in, he's locked his tyre, feels that he's not going to be in control of his car to make it around that chicane, bails out. Now the race director's instructions are you have to keep to the right of that yellow line there. And Carlos Sainz isn't. He drives across here. Much like Max Verstappen did at the French Grand Prix in 2021. You know, the season where they defrauded the entire world and contrived the ending of the Abu Dhabi finale. That one. You're not supposed to be here, Carlos. You're supposed to have come down here with this yellow line here on your left. You come down this passage here so that you're rejoining the track there. As the track has straightened out, these cars coming along here can see you re-entering. They can stay wide and there's safe room for you to come on the track and emerge appropriately. That is why that they have these race director's notes. If you go off at that corner, this is the procedure you must follow. And you've rejoined the track here before there, because that is where you're supposed to go. And what did they do? Oh, it's just a reprimand. That's not okay. Reprimand is not okay. If you've got a clear set of instructions, you've got to follow that set of instructions. If you fail to follow that set of instructions, you get hit with a penalty for failing to follow that set of instructions. Okay? Steward saying, oh yeah, we won't do anything. Leave it alone. That's not a problem. It is a problem. Okay? If you have rules, you enforce the rules. Anybody who breaks the rules, there's a penalty. There's a consequence for breaking the rules, for not following the instructions. Otherwise, what's the point in having instructions if, oh yeah, we told you to do this, you didn't do it, but yeah, don't worry. No, consequence. Consequence. So, should have stayed across here. So he's cutting all that off. Should have gone round there. See, this is the line he should be taking. Slows them down by doing that. But what he's done, he's not lost as much time by coming across that area and rejoining there. Now, in terms of safety, the difference between there and there is not much. Okay? But there's a clear set of instructions. He didn't follow that. And it wouldn't have even been so bad if it, he's coming across here. Let's just bring it to that. He's bailed. Now, at that point there, yes, he's missing this yellow line, but there's no reason to say he's made a conscious choice there. He could have easily steered this side of that yellow line from that point onwards. But he's made a conscious choice to drive across here. You know, if it had lost control and it had dragged him here, and then he'd have ended up coming all the way across to here and rejoining this section by about here, and then merging on, okay, I'd accept that. But he's made a conscious choice back here to cut right across here. That's definitely a penalty. And what he's now done, the car he was previously trying to challenge, he's made an error which should cost him something. He's right on the back of him. And had he have followed the race director's instructions, he'd have paid essentially a penalty for messing up. You get it wrong, you pay the penalty for getting it wrong. So what's happening with Lando now? Oh, bit of a twitch on. Got it wide. Right, let's get to the next exciting bit. Right, so here's an incident that's not actually even penalised. We're on board with Liam Lawson, heading down to, I think it's turn 4, looking to overtake at this chicane. 200 metres out. There's a 200 board. Often it's just 150s. So he's behind. It's a left-hand turn, so he's a car on the outside is Lawson in the Red Bull B team. There's the 150. All right. Now you're going down a high-speed section of the track, having to brake down to go through a chicane, so having to decelerate hard. Plenty of room here. There's the 150. He's about halfway alongside. Not entitled to be left room on exit, but he's here. He's on the track. He's entitled to be here. It just means that as they go round the corner, the car on the inside doesn't have to leave him track room on exit of the corner because he's got right to choose his line. Now, but this is what happens. This car is entitled to be here. Lawson is entitled to be where he is. And the Red Bull of Tsunoda comes across him. That's not a car's width. The Red Bull runs into his space. Obviously, the Red Bull wants to try and sweep to the right so it can widen up the corner. No, you're running into a car's space that is there. You're crowding this car on the track. Tsunoda, you're guilty of an infringement here. So, Lawson's entitled to stay on the track. Look how close they are. Literally, his wheel is within the car space because Tsunoda's come across on him. Literally, this wheel is just on the track there. Tsunoda, you are crowding another car on the track. Now, in terms of the actual collision, you've not left him a car's width, so you shouldn't be this far wide. Tsunoda's causing the problem here. And then, as Tsunoda starts to move back across, look how close they are. But you can look at the angle of Lawson's steering wheel. He's also steering. So this is a problem. Now, they call this a racing incident, but it's an infringement of both drivers. Firstly, this car, the Red Bull, is guilty of crowding the Red Bull B team by coming across and not leaving the car's width. Now, as Tsunoda is making the corner, well, there now is a car's width. So why is Lawson steering left? Because if he stays right, if he stays with this wheel on the right-hand line here, then this doesn't happen. Now, Lawson should be keeping wide of Tsunoda. Like I say, back here, that's Tsunoda's infringement. That is Tsunoda crowding Lawson. So that's a 5-second penalty for Tsunoda. Okay, crowding on the track. Now, regardless of whether you say there's no collision, that's illegal. You can't crowd like that. You cannot run him out of road space, which is what you're doing. Okay, you shouldn't be putting him onto the grass. You've run him out of track room. So that's an infringement. You've infringed by doing that. That's not a problem. That's not okay. That's a problem. That's a 5-second penalty for Tsunoda. But Lawson now needs to keep it straight. You can see Sonoda's going away from a bit. Lawson's moved his steering wheel, steered round the corner too early, caused this collision. And he has caused this collision. And the reason he's caused this collision is because he's not entitled. He is on the outside here. He is responsible for maintaining space between the two cars. He's got room on his right-hand side. He could have maintained space and he didn't. That's a 5-second penalty for, or actually a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. Both cars go off the track. Tsunoda's radio. What is he doing, bro? So who's gained position there? Lawson gained a position there. Nothing was done about it. Is this Red Bull rules? Red Bull can get away with teaching their drivers in the Red Bull Academy to drive how the fuck you want, and there's no penalty for that. So this is this? Oh, this is on board with Maxwell, isn't it? I'm guessing that's Yuki. I thought Max had the white helmet. Oh, is he giving that place back? Ooh, exciting. Right, let's get to the next exciting bit. Okay, this is, I think Holly Behrman gets a 10-second penalty. Right, is it this one or is it this one? One of these. Holly Behrman. Was he get 10-second time penalty and 2 penalty points on his license? Let's have a look at this. All right, so this is, it happens at turn 4, but this is the lead up to it. So this is Behrman, this is Sainz. Sainz was slipstreaming him down the start-finish straight. Behrman moves over to cover the inside line, coming into turn 1. And they've got now cut back to that. So covers that off. This is Sainz then trying to slipstream Behrman as they coming around here. Trying to set up the overtake, as we see. All looking good so far. So, Sainz is going to be the car essentially on the outside coming into turn 4, the chicane. What needs to be the rules of engagement at the braking zone? Car on the outside needs to be alongside. Is he alongside? He looks to be alongside there. He's ahead. So Carlos Sainz is ahead along this straight. We are seeing these boards. What's that? Is that the 50-meter board? Looks like it could be. Or is that the 150? Unfortunately, I don't have very good resolution. Let's see if we can pause that. $150. Slightly better, but still pretty poor. So, Sainz is ahead. Now, they are challenging. Behrman, the car on the inside, is still entitled for track room. Okay, so the rules of engagement at the braking zone to the corner, the car, the attacking car, the overtaking car, okay, has to be at least alongside. He was ahead, which is fine. So Sainz is entitled to be left room on exit of this corner, but he has to leave track room for the car that he's trying to overtake. Now, Behrman is entitled to be going around this corner on the track, so he is entitled to this space here, a full car width away from this white curbing. He's entitled to a full car width there, but what he must do is ensure that on exit of this corner around here, he leaves track room for Carlos Sainz. That's what he must do. So let's see what happens. Oh, the car on the outside has turned in on him. That's Carlos Sainz's fault. That is Carlos Sainz's fault. Absolutely, Carlos. See, Behrman was the car that was being overtaken. He is still entitled to be racing. Okay, the overtaking car is the car that's trying to overtake on the outside. He hasn't got that fully done, all right? And now he can come around the outside, but the car on the inside has to be left track room, and the car on the outside has to take a wide sweep. He's not done that. You're not fully ahead. The car is still there. Behrman is still in this. Now, this is the 50. He's definitely halfway alongside. He's still in this. And therefore, look at this. Collision is before the corner. And look at the attitude of the Williams car. It's totally ran across the line of Behrman. Totally ran across him. Caused that collision. Cause a collision. Both cars do a pirouette. Lucky that it didn't end up a lot worse than that. If they'd have tagged each other again as they pirouetted, that could have been a safety car, and then we wouldn't have had the fastest ever race ever by Max Verstappen, the best you've ever seen, because nobody else has gone around here faster and just had the race impacted by safety car, have they? That is Carlos Sainz's fault. Not only has Behrman lost a place to Sainz through what Sainz has then done illegally, Behrman's also lost a place to the guy that's just passed him there. So the fact that Behrman got the penalty is absolutely obscene. It shows you that the stewards are not fit to adjudicate. They are not fit to steward this sport. That is absolutely atrocious. 2 penalty points. 10 for a 12-month period. Now, how close is he to a race ban? That is not acceptable. He was not at fault there at all. So, number one, he shouldn't have had a time penalty. Number two, there is no way that he should have points for that. That is absolutely obscene. It's Carlos Sainz that should be infringing. That should be the person that picked up the points for that. And time penalty. And look at the impact it's had on his race. Plus another 10 seconds. So, what are we on now? At 41 of 58, we're green flag again. Right, let's go through to the next exciting piece of footage. They played the replay, but I'm just taking you to the end of the onboards, because the onboards did start way back up the road. But this is Sainz now approaching that chicane. He knows that Behrman is on his inside, and he knows that Behrman's halfway alongside him still. And this is the steering input of Sainz. But you've got to leave room on your inside for that car. Okay, he's not going to do an emergency stop and just ram the anchors on to make way for you. He's entitled to be there still. and you're steering across, attempting to go for the curbing here to hit the apex when you've got to leave a car's width and you're inside. And obviously you've not made the curbing because there's an impact causing all that. Definitely science's fault. Right, we'll move on to the next bit of excitement. Well, we'll do the onboards with Bearman, and actually he's getting on the radio. So, mate, he just turned across in front of me like I wasn't there, which is exactly what it was. He's entitled to be here. Okay, look at him. He's entitled to be there. He's taking a steering angle to make it around there. And the other car's just driven across him. When have we seen a car drive across another car before? Oh, would that be Cops Corner, Silverstone, 2021? With the car on the outside turned across the car on the inside. Yeah, Stewart's got that one wrong as well. Wasn't your fault, that wasn't, Ollie Bearman. That was not your fault. And just to play through this slow-mo that they're showing us, here's the apex of the corner. And obviously the car on the inside is having to take a tight line into it. The car on the outside definitely veering across, but the car on the inside is making the corner. Contact. Is there a car's width here at the point of contact? No, there's not. Sainz has driven into his room. And it's not just about leaving an exact car's width. You've got to leave a safety margin. There's two cars trying to make it around there at speed. Leave a safety margin. If you don't leave a safety margin, you're the one that's at fault. Okay, I think the only thing that remains is the bullshit that surrounded the McLaren pit stops. The fact that McLaren botched Lando Norris's pit stop, meaning that Piastri then jumped him. Piastri then was validly in second position in that race, and then McLaren decided that they would impose a team order and make Oscar yield to Lando. Now, that's absolute bullshit, but we'll go through that in the final part of this, where we go through the footage. I might then do a video about the Brundle and Crofty bullshit narrative, the way they're gushing over Max Verstappen, and the way that they break down these incidents in a manner that it's just not the way it should be. It's just an entire contrivance. Anyway, that'll do on this one. Thank you once again for your time.